Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Faust Normalized series. Today, we're gonna cover 6H. As usual, we're gonna cover all the normal info, data, numbers that you need to know, cancels, hitbox, hurtbox, all the usual stuff. Then we'll go over some uses of neutral, how to counter 6H, what does it lose to, so you know when not to use it. And yeah, just these kind of like general cover-ups. Then we'll go over some combos. 6H is a fairly simple tool. It's not too complex. It doesn't have a lot of uses. But it's important that you use it correctly because it's very dangerous to throw out with no awareness of how it can be countered. So with that said, let's get started. First of all, before we talk about any numbers, let's dispel this 6H as a full screen overhead. 6H is a very far-reaching overhead, but it does not go full screen. It doesn't go almost full screen too. It goes half screen. Okay, that's where it hits, around here. Okay, just so you can see it. It's up to get hit. Around here you'll hit, but anything further does not hit. Right? See, you got like 2 backdashes there. So yeah, that's the range of the move. It's still very far. Okay, this is not downplay or upplay, just describing the actual data. So yeah, it's a very far-reaching overhead. It starts at 25 frames, but technically it only hits overhead at 29 frames. So the way this works, let me show up the picture so you can kind of like see it visually. Hopefully that kind of helps demonstrate how the move works. So as you can see, you got 3 parts to this active part. So you got this box over here, the first one at the top. This is when it starts becoming active. It then goes to the second part, which is when it starts hitting overhead. So you can see only when you hit here, which is about 29 frames, you actually hit overhead. This is something just for so people know, it's not like a 25 frame overhead, it's 29 frame overhead, so people don't get confused with the data. Anyway, as you can see here, it does 60 damage, which is super high damage for a move. It's your highest damage button as Faust, so you like breaking the wall with this, you like using this in combos for damage. It has 9 frames of active total divided between these sections that I showed earlier. 44 frames of recovery, which is a ton. There are so many moves that their entire duration, including actives and startups, is less than 44. So this entire thing is like 77, and is minus 34 in block, which is an insane amount. It truly is an insane amount. So make sure to keep in mind, you are very punishable if you throw this out, if you whiff it out, if you whiff it in neutral. Very, very, very dangerous. Okay. So other things you may want to know, it's level 4 move, which we use a lot when we have frame traps with mix or when we have meter into Scarecrow. I'll show this later for uses. And it gives like a significant amount of risk to the opponent, which is great, and deals great OTG damage. Okay, so when you hit this OTG, it deals insane damage. This is something we also want to remember. So we will use this somehow in the future. So with that said, let's get rid of this so you can see the screen. So 6H, as I was saying, far-reaching overhead poke, but we don't really use it to mix people up. We're not trying to hit people with this normally, unless we have a ton of clutter in the screen, so then maybe they stumble and they get hit by this. This could happen. Generally speaking, we don't throw it out for this. So why do you throw out 6H? So outside of specific matchups where a character may be a bit too slow to challenge 6H or struggle a bit with movement around it, okay, because this does happen. So 6H is generally used with either meter or items. You don't just throw it out in neutral because, well, if it does get counter hit, if it does get blocked, if it does get avoided, the risk reward is just really bad. And since it doesn't give anything proper on normal hit, like as long as you're very spaced, like here, okay, it doesn't give you thrust, it doesn't give you anything like as long as the enemy techs correctly. Even mix does not reach in time, as you can see. So it is a bit dangerous to throw out for the reward of 1 item. You can get 1 item on block against some characters. Some characters can just hit you out of this. The faster characters and the very far reach pokes characters deal with this super well. Also, characters who can low profile do really well against it. So if I set Kai, for example, to do Sun Dipper, is he blocking right now? Yeah. So yeah, let's say I set him to do Stun Dipper. Okay, he can punish me even if I do Item Toss. Oh, he didn't get me on Item Toss there. Yeah, on some spacings, he's actually not going to get you. In the corner, it works a bit different. As you can see, I get pushed out a bit more. So if I'm here and I do it in the corner against Kai, it might work. If you're closer, I think it would still hit. Yeah, in mid-screen, it's a bit different, as you can see. Oh. Interesting. Maybe Kai's Stun Dipper is not fast enough. There are moves that are fast enough that reach there. Yeah, I guess it just depends on the spacing. So if you space it well enough, it's a bit hard to catch you out of this with just like any move. Some characters who can run into a far slash will get you. But yeah, this is on good spacing. So why do you use 6H? Outside of the item and meter use, which we're going to develop in a few moments, that's basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to cheat out an item. Okay, I call it cheat out. It's not cheating out, you're just basically spacing 6H very well. It's very committal, but if you space it well, you can catch the opponent, even on block, and you can get an item out. Against most characters, it's relatively safe to do it over here. Okay, so that's what you're generally trying to do with it in most cases in neutral. You might be also trying to get some risk for the opponent, build some meter for you. Maybe you got like a bomb outside, maybe you got meteors, and you're just like, let's say I throw out meteors. Imagine this is meteors. I do like a 6H to make sure he stands in place and blocks them. Meanwhile, I can pull one or two more items. I can just show it with meteors, I guess. So yeah, let's say I got meteors and I see it standing there. I can toss up like 2 items there maybe, or maybe just 1, depending on my timing. And make sure that I gain like more and more advantage. I can also use that 6H, of course, to just do something like this to change sides, maybe catch the opponent unaware, right? Make him force that 50-50. So you will sometimes do these kind of things with 6H, since it goes so far and lets you have that flexibility. So yeah, generally that's the use of 6H. You don't really target a lot of moves with 6H. There's like a super few specific, ultra specific situations with 6H games, like the specific counterplay use, but generally speaking, you don't do that. So we're gonna keep it to the simple stuff. You're mostly trying to get a very spaced one to get an item out. You can also, of course, challenge with things like Thrust or things like Mix. Now, generally speaking, in most spaces, characters with low profile options will beat all of what you're doing with their low profile option. If you're spaced well enough, Thrust will beat moves like Stun Dipper, of course. But moves like Vortex from Soul or Ino's Stroke usually beat both. Of course, DLC 2Ks can go under everything and still beat Mix. If you're close enough, Mix will win because it's now faster. It used to be just losing to everything. If you're too far, Mix will lose. So just watch your spacing, basically, is all there is to it. Item, of course, also can be beat out. And if you do Scarecrows, you can get hit. Technically, Scarecrow S will beat moves like Stun Dipper. But yeah, this doesn't happen often, and I don't know if you want to commit to that Scarecrow S. Anyway, low profile moves are very strong. Also, if the opponent likes to 6V after 6H, it will beat, generally speaking, like most cases of Mix, Scarecrows. Here he should be recovering in time. And Thrust, in the very well-spaced ones, you'll get like this clash. But if you already are in that spacing where it clashes, an item toss would usually be better. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, item toss here is already good, and if they're 6B'ing anyway, like if they're auto 6B'ing on block, then item toss is just safe. You guys will recover about the same time, depending on the opponent's 6B. Maybe you'll even be plus. Okay, so that's generally what you do with 6H. So we said counterplay to 6H could be either blocking it and just being like in an advantageous position, especially if you're closer, like around here. Or you could also beat it with just disjoints. So a lot of characters, Kai 6B isn't the best one at doing this, but I'm sure Kai 6B will be able to do it well enough. So let me try and time it. How will I do that? Sometimes it's a bit hard to time these things. They feel a bit weird to do because I'm like pressing the recording and I just want to show like where the hitbox extends to. I'm doing it on like the worst timing because I'm so used to doing it on my own timing. Yeah, like this. Okay, so some 6Ps will just flat out beat 6H, and some trade. It kind of depends on your 6P. The lower to the ground 6Ps usually trade, and the higher ones like Faust, Gold Lewis, Nago, Potemkin, like these usually cleanly beat 6H, so you can test out which ones you want to challenge with more. But if the opponent really likes throwing out 6Ps in neutral, 6H might not be your best option. Remember 2H, 2D will cover 2P, are all better options. Also, if it's just disjoints that the opponent throws out, maybe he likes doing moves like this, right? Kai 6H, they love throwing out that move. So yeah, that definitely beats out, like, let me make sure I'm doing it cleanly. Yeah, it's kind of like timing dependent. Okay, this will be super difficult for me to time this, I think. I got the first one, I couldn't get the second one. Yeah, okay. That's when they're both active. So usually this is like a bad trade for you. And depending on the disjoint, some of them just cleanly beat. I think Kai's Far Slash probably is the best one at beating 6H. I could be wrong. Let me try it one more time. Yeah, like this. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of depends on the opponent's move. If they have solid disjoints, they can throw it in neutral. Maybe you want to ease out on the 6Hs. If they don't, then maybe you can use them a bit more, okay? For example, people think Gold Lewis really bad at dealing with 6H, but actually, since Gold Lewis has Behemoth, he can often throw it out in neutral, counter hit you for a knockdown from all the way over there, and you gave up all of your advantage to Gold Lewis, which is not your best thing in the world. So keep that in mind with all these interactions. 6H is not very high reward when you do get it to work. Like, you just get an item, and you get an item while being relatively minus. So keep that in mind. Might not be the best like option to go for. In moderation, basically, is what I think 6H is for. So we talked a bit about how you beat 6H. We talked a bit about what to use it for. I will mention characters who really like being in the air will also, generally speaking, not be like in the range where you want to use 6H. 6H does it here, but it actually doesn't start, if you remember the hitbox that I showed, it doesn't start immediately, like right on top of you. It actually starts like, let's say I'm over here, it will start around above Kai's head with the actives. You see where it kind of hits them? Okay, so that's where the hitbox kind of starts. If people are air dashing at you, or if people are just like jumping in the air and looking for a whiff, 6H might not be the best option. I only challenge air with 6H if I know people are like in the corner and they're doing these kind of like fuzzy jumps to kind of check me for whiffing something like a Far Slash. That's where 6H is like not bad versus air. Okay, so these are kind of like the uses of 6H. Now let's talk a bit about meter. Meter use for 6H is actually not that bad. Basically, like, you're forcing people to block 6H. They think they're in a fairly advantageous position, and you have two solid options. I like one more than the other, but you have three solid options, I should say, when you have meter. So one is just doing Item Super. Okay, Item Super is fairly safe. In most ranges, it's just flat out safe, and you get to toss 4 items. You're in like full screen, so you can zone a lot more, or you can go in with the items you get. Of course, they're not just going to be afros, so I hope, I guess I hope for you they're not all going to be afros. I got like 2 afro supers before in my life. yeah, so you can like try and challenge here, grab a trumpet, maybe like force your way in. So that's like option number 1. The second option is using scarecrows. I kind of talked about this in the H videos, in the 2H video. Using scarecrow with RC, letting you either do like a close slash, which the opponent struggles to even challenge. You can do it from both sides, of course. You can do it with P, or you can do it with K crow, right? Or you can do it with S crow. That's also fine. Right, so you can do this. I normally go for either a 2K or a command grab. That's the mix-up I like doing, but you can use whatever you like. So as you can see, 2K can flat out beat 6P from Kai. It can beat all the 6Ps. So as you can see, and you can get this kind of combo. You don't have to keep the wall. You can break it if you want to. Of course, you can do like a simple combo like this. Break the wall. So this is already solid damage, almost 200 damage from something that is like fairly hard to block, right? So not bad at all. Or you could do a command grab, which sets up your offense, which is great, right? You get to do this and opponent doesn't block you and you get a lot of damage. It's very, very fun. Specifically with 6Bs, people who like 6Bing after Thrust because they want to beat out... they like 6Bing after 6H because they want to beat Thrust and mix and all that shit. So for people like that, you can actually beat with command grab. You can beat it both before the actives and after the actives. So if you like holding Scarecrow S and whiff punishing, that's also fine. You'll basically do like a short hold, see the move whiff, and then do PRC into fast snip. You can also, of course, punish it with a close slash like this. Like everything you feel like is fine. Like I don't really mind. As you can see, very high damage. Converting into a close slash is a bit harder. Converting into grab is a bit easier. But, you know, whichever you prefer. Like on maybe longer recovery moves, it would be easier to confirm. Not sure. It's kind of up to you. Yeah. That's like option number 2 after item toss. The third option you have with meter, it's a bit more technical. I personally don't really recommend it because it does have some more ambiguous counterplay. But the third option is using mix. Okay, so basically you cancel into mix, and you're going to do a fast drift forward PRC. So fast 6 PRC into JD. And that's how it looks like. As you can see, it frame traps 6Ps. It should frame trap like as well, the 5P, like this. So it's fairly strong if you use it every now and then. I don't like using this a lot. It is a bit annoying to do in the middle of a match. I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad by any means. And it does lead to another layer of mix-up. Why am I fucking this up after I did it so well? So nicely. I swear, before the video, I made sure I can do this consistently. I got like 7 times in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm good for the video. And now, like, I got it, like, once and fucked it up? Yeah, that's the video curse. Okay, wait. Come on. Come on, game. Okay, now I'm doing it too slow so it doesn't actually frame trap. Yeah, like this. You can get nice combos from this. You can either break the wall or set up level key, whatever you prefer, or just do mix to end the combo, which all are like fine. You can of course fix it with JK. Oh, come on. Anyway, I'm gonna tell him to stop 5Ping because we already showed you can frame trap. Oh. Okay. I'm not clean enough, guys. That is just the truth, okay? I'm not good enough. But maybe you guys will find good use to this. It does have decent uses. I just want to show how it looks like when you do them. Yeah, so you can tech throw the opponent from this on block. You can do it from hit as well, I guess. So you can either do that or go for like a low. Most people don't mash there. technically, you can go for another layer of mix with TK mix after the JD. So that is an option. That is extra technical on the first level of technical. So this is a cross up. So you can do this. Technically, this is like high execution, a bit of a high risk, in my opinion, for 50 meter. I like this mix. I think it's very good, like using either 2K or command grab. I think it's very strong. I recommend this. This is fairly safe to throw out, in my opinion. But if you like the mix option, the mix cancel option, go for it. Go crazy, you know. It looks super cool. I can't like stop people from doing cool shit, you know. So these are the free options you got with 6H when you have meter. They're all fair and solid. And like trying to fuck around with all three of them is probably important. So yeah, just keep them in mind and do whatever you will. With that said, I think we can go over some combos. I don't think 6H... Oh wait, sorry, no. Actually, before we go over combos, let's just go over a few important things. One is what happens when people airblock 6H, as it does happen sometimes. Normally, you'll just go into an item toss. As you can see, you can be minus on this item toss. It depends kind of like on like the height, but generally you'll be about even. You can go for a thrust. The enemy usually can't do anything about it. So if I tell him to unblock 6B, for example. Oh, sorry. As you can see, can't do anything, just true string. If you hit them a bit lower to the ground or maybe a bit further from them, I think... Yeah, as you can see, it could happen, so you can try and be mindful of this, but generally speaking, you will be fine. Yeah, this was just me delaying. So yeah, generally speaking, you'll be fine to throw out a thrust if you want to. The benefits of thrust is mostly that you just get like a ton of risk on the opponent. If you can see, these are just 2 hits. So there's like a lot of risk on the opponent. If you have like meter to cash from this, like if you like get like a hit on the opponent right after that, you might be worth it. I don't know, up to you. So yeah, this is like generally the 2 options you use when you do force an air block. Let's go back to not doing anything. The other things we kind of want to note is, I guess, 6H8 as a combo tool. I mentioned how in combos, especially air juggles, what am I trying to do? Oh, this, yeah. Especially air juggles, like going through 6H is like a pretty big option. Like you're going to use this a lot in combos. As you can see, it deals massive damage. It's like your highest hitting button. Like if I compare to like, as you can see, charge dust 50 damage, 6H 60. This is 40. This is 45. This is 42. Right? So it definitely has like a significant advantage in terms of damage. So you do want to use it when you can. Break the wall with it when you can, if you can. So yeah, just generally try to stick some 6Hs in your combos. They're usually pretty good. Okay, so this is like the classic one where you get like 2 6Hs. Right, you get like 1 and you break the wall with it. The only other button that deals like this kind of damage is kind of like Scarecrow S. But you kind of need to charge it for that. So yeah, that's not a common hit, and not a hit that you get normally in combos. So just keep that in mind, okay? Anyway, that was like the one thing they use it in combos. The other time you use 6H is when you're OTGing. Generally speaking, you'll do like an OTG 6H after a mix. And the way you do it, normally speaking, is you'll do like you'll hold free. Okay, so you'll do, let's say you do this and you hold free and you'll do a 6H. As you can see, it does pretty high OTG damage. Like if we look at buttons like 2H, it's like 22, something that we use often. Like some people do 2D, right? Oh wait, let me try and show this. Okay, 2D, 21, this is 25 over here. Yeah, here, this is 18. This is 21. I think this, what was this? 40. Okay, so depending on how many hits you got, it kind of changes. Usually this happens a lot after 6B mix that we go for OTG, since you can't really mix loop. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Very strong OTG. It pushes people pretty far, and you're already doing free input, so they are already pretty far. Just make sure you don't fuck it up, of course. If you do, you'll feel pretty bad. But yeah, lets you toss up an item after the OTG hit, which is not bad. Okay, now we can go to combos, and we'll go over the normal hit combos. But before, I kind of want to explain how this little mash thing on Kai's head works, like the thing you see there. This is what you call a stagger effect. You can kind of like play with it with this option. So you can tell your opponent to tech slowly, normally, or fast. Fast is like the way that you should be practicing, but some opponents don't tech that fast. And basically what that is a window where you can combo into throws. Okay, so this is a combo. Normally Snip has 18 hits, as you can see. This was 19 because the 6H comboed. Okay, so yeah, like this. So basically, it lets you combo into throws. Some characters have this, like Mei has this, and Zato has this. Potemkin, of course, from his Garuda, right? So there's like a bunch of characters who can use this mechanic. It's a pretty weird one. You basically need to like kind of like mash out of it in a specific way. So yeah, don't trust that like this will combo. Set your opponent to tech fast. Strong opponents will tech fast, and as you can see, mix will combo, but this will not combo. It shows like this is not a real combo. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So anyway, did I turn enable? Yeah, disable. Okay, so for normal hit combos, the first one is mix, and this only works when you're up close. This does not work over here, so just keep that in mind. It only works when you're up close. You can technically get a 5k car mix there, like this, for another loop. Deals solid damage, gives you a close slash OTG or just an item toss. Both are solid. Sometimes you'll be able to get the close slash loop. It is pretty rare that you get this. You have to be super close for that, so it doesn't really happen all that often. Generally speaking, I recommend either going for another 6H OTG, unironically, as you can see the damage is pretty close, or just taking the hard knockdown from mix and going for either a close slash OTG or tossing an item and doing a nice meaty. Okay, so both options are solid. You can go for a reset there, you can go for whatever you want. All is fine. Kind of choose your option based on what you like. I like doing this because I don't like whiffing car mix. Even if I do it consistently now for some reason, usually when I record everything is fucked up. Yeah, usually I'll go for just like one mix, and I'll reset my offense since the damage difference is pretty low. Anyway, this is like the first combo you'll kind of learn. There are no real other combos from normal hit without a counter hit or meter. So generally speaking, this is what you're doing. Once you get counter hit, things are a bit different. Mix connects at all ranges, and getting that close slash becomes a bit more consistent as long as you pilot your mix correctly. So remember that 6-6-6-1 thing. So you want to make sure you're doing it as closely as possible. But even here, as you can see, sometimes you'll drop it. So going for 5k is okay. Going for something else is fine. But the actual confirm you want to do when you get that counter hit is thrust, right? I already showed in previous videos, in the 5H video, a ton of things you can do from thrust RC. I recommend checking them out. I might make a separate video on RCing thrust just to show like the best options in different places, so people have it like in a specific place. But yeah, this is definitely the confirm you want to do, either the sweet spot or the not sweet spot into a safe jump. Both are solid. I like both. If you want to do maximum damage, of course, not going for a sweet spot is the optimal way. You'll go for something like this into a micro dash 2H, which you don't whiff, like I just did. Okay, so this is 153. And this is 155. So just keep that in mind. Of course, if you're trying to do like high damage but also throw out items, sweet spot is probably the best option. And if you can break the wall and you don't have meter, going for a sweet spot is definitely preferred. as it gives you 188 here, so not bad at all. Okay, that's just generally the options you got from counter hit. Again, mix works, but thrust is preferred. Okay, now let's put some meter into the mix. Okay, so as I said before, with meter, this becomes a combo. This is not something you confirm like on hit, but you can kind of pre-confirm it if you know you're whiff punishing with a 6H because you see your opponent is like whiffing a button, right? You see this kind of like thing happen. Like confirming this is pretty easy. I think it's pretty good to confirm this. As you can see, it's solid damage and it gives you the Afro Oki, so not bad at all. You can of course go for sorry. So you can of course go for different confirm with either close slash, but it's a bit more difficult to get, I'm not gonna lie. Right, you can get something like this and send the opponent like a bit further away into the wall. I think that because of the scaling, if you do like if you do 2S, you can get a mix loop. It's a bit harder to get it from close slash 2S. It's like possible to bounce them with 5k, but it's pretty difficult. So if you are confirming it into, if you're like trying to confirm into a mixed loop, I should say, going for a 2S is like the way to do it. Right, you'll see fast 2S, and then you can break the wall like this if you're mid-screen. As far as I know, that's like the most consistent way to break the wall with like a combo. It deals very nice damage, gives you positive, and you're using PRC to do it, which is pretty good. Just keep that in mind in case you want to. It's not easy to confirm by any means. You have to do the fast PRC properly or they will block it. As you can see, if you delay just a bit or if you don't do the fast PRC, you might fuck it up or you might not get the height that you're looking for. So just keep these things in mind. So these are like confirms you can do with Scarecrow for combos after a 6H or normal hit. You can also, of course, as you can see, combo this, the thing I showed earlier, the JD. It actually combos if you do hit, even if the opponent techs fast. So it will become a combo. You can use JK as well to do that. This doesn't really go into anything, sadly, since JD doesn't combo into mix there. So I don't know if it's good to do. I don't really recommend it, as I said, but it is an option if you're trying to confirm stuff with meter. If you do go for mix, going for that kind of JD combo is perfectly fine. If you are in like a 6H mix situation, just remember, since it's an overhead, the gravity scaling is a bit different. So you can't do your normal BRC combo that I always show where you do like, let me try to show it just properly. So, ooh, okay, maybe I'm not gonna get to show, okay, I have to not be lazy with my mix piloting. So if you do your normal mix combo, it's going to be pretty tight. So you can go for an easier one with close slash 2S5H. I think that's okay. You're not losing a lot of damage. If you want to go for it with the close slash 6H, that's also fine. As you can see, it does work. It's just a bit tighter than normal because the gravity is a bit higher. So keep that in mind. If you only get that 5k, it's okay to go for something like this, right, as a combo. It does lose a bit of damage that you're going for 5k red RC, but it's what it is. If you're just trying to guarantee a lethal, and that's gonna work, so there's nothing wrong with doing this. You can also do just close slash 2S into 6H. That's also fine. As you can see, damage difference is not big. So these are kind of like alternatives you can use, like this, or you could also try and go for a BRC. Now this only works in very specific spacing, so I don't know like if it's worth going for. I feel like it's sometimes a bit too vague to actually tell. Personally, I go for the red RC like this when I'm not sure if I can get it, and I either do the close slash 2S or I do the close slash 6H if I feel like I'm close enough. So up to you. You guys can use whichever one you feel like. Whatever works for you is more consistent for you. So these are kind of like combos you can do. If you do hit 6H very close up, which you normally never do, and you want to confirm it into the red RC, this is kind of like how you do it. Okay, so again, it's a bit lower gravity, so you do a different combo. But 6H, up RC, This is like the high damage confirms like this. And I go for close slash 5H because JD is sometimes a bit too far from the wall, so it doesn't actually hit. So keep these things in mind. Yeah, and confirm safely. This situation actually almost never happens, but just in case it does, you could confirm with forward RC, technically, to reach the opponent. Again, not very recommended. You don't really throw out 6H in these situations too much. So just keep these things in mind. Normally you'd prefer, like, if you get like a counter hit or something, to pull them back and then use meter to switch sides like this. Okay, so these are all sorts of metered combos you can use. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Of course, when you get like the air combos, this is where we get the air options. You get access to pretty big combos. It's pretty hard to confirm. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard to confirm this into Scarecrow. Like, unless you know it's going to hit. Like, if you do it a bit late, as you can see, they fall pretty flat. This is still a hard knockdown if you confirm this, so it's not bad. You can technically go for Mix, but as you can see, Mix could whiff. And even, I should say, often does whiff. So, yeah. At your own risk. If you delay it a bit, it's usually a bit more consistent, like this. But even then, sometimes you don't get a mixed loop, so keep that in mind. Okay, so normally you'll confirm into this or into an item toss. If you do get to confirm into this, you get a full combo, which is great. It's very similar to all these 5k 6h combos that you get, but since the spacing varies, usually picking up with 5k is better. I like picking into 5k JSJH and then microdash to close slash 2s 5h, just because it's like fairly consistent. You can get more there technically, but yeah, like you'll have to do this kind of microdash to make it very consistent. Okay, so just keep these things in mind. Yeah, is there anything very interesting for this otherwise? I don't think so. Like, you can charge this a bit, but there's no real reason to do it. Like, it doesn't really add a lot to your combo. As you can see, looks about the same. Sometimes it does a bit more, sometimes a bit less. Kind of depends on the spacing and on whether you actually get that wall bounce. For air counter hit, if you immediately go for Scarecrow, you can see the Scarecrow doesn't hit as well as before. It's kind of because of the slowdown. So you kind of have to hold it, but the problem when you hold it is that you could get the no bounce, or you can get the hit a bit awkward. So just keep these things in mind if you want to confirm into it. Again, this still works like the same combo. You don't really need to change it. Yeah, you don't really need to change it when you do it. So you just do the same thing. Once you add meter into this bunch, confirming becomes a bit easier because you can just go for something like this. Or you can simply RC and combo like this, which is also super easy to do. You can either break the wall, save it. So it kind of depends on you if you prefer saving the meter for like a super, which is like super nice, or if you prefer to kind of like do something like this, which is also perfectly fine. Will deal pretty high damage, usually more damage than the super even, from like some combos. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like something you have to think with yourself what you're more comfortable with, and also think about the spacing. So if you're like, yeah, if you're like here, maybe like this combo will be super easy to do into a super, get a hard knockdown. If you're like over here, you might choose to go for a 5k JH because it feels a bit more consistent to get the wall. And you still, as you can see, break 200 really well and get nice damage. So these are kind of like the combo info that you should know. You don't really combo 6H into a lot of other things. You don't really do disconfirm ever. I mean, you could if you can, but if you do it a bit late, this is how it looks like. It's not very fun. The other two kind of things that you can use, I guess, is 6H on aerial hit. Okay, this is not on normal hit, only on counter hit. So as you can see, this doesn't really do anything. At the wall, you can pick up with 5k, but only if you're super close. Like over here already does not work. So in mid screen, yeah, like this, when you get a counter hit, you have two options after you toss an item. One of them is going for a JH. And if you're close enough to the wall, let me be around here. Oh, sorry. So yeah, if you're close enough to the wall, and of course to your opponent, you are capable of like confirming like this. It looks pretty cool. It deals solid damage. It's not a bad confirm. It's pretty easy to do since you're tossing an item, something you normally already do. You can of course also try and pick up after an item toss. This is a bit harder. I think recommend. Wait. Let me make sure that I do recommend doing this with. Yeah. Okay. Depends on the item you toss, I guess. But generally speaking, doing it with Scarecrow S will be the most consistent one that I know. So you toss an item, and then you either do a JH, as I showed. You can do Scarecrow into RC. And the last thing that almost never happens, but technically could, is that you're close enough to do a dash 5k, and that just lets you combo like a normal BNB. And I mean, it does a lot of damage if you can land this, but this is like super rare. So I don't think you should be worried about this too much. Oh, yeah. Here, we adapted to an item. Epic. So these are the general things that you can do with like 6H combos. I wonder how long this video is. 6H shouldn't be too long. But I hope this video was useful and that you 6H safely. 6H was kind of like the first button I kind of really loved from Faust because I liked the animation of it where he kind of falls on the ground, watches the sky in this kind of like zombie-like fashion. So I really like this button, but you should be using it carefully, especially use it with meter more than not. And yeah, just have fun 6Hing. Okay? Hope this was useful, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay? Bye-bye.